I am very happy that I see you here, and your smiling faces show to me that you have nice evening and restful sleep. We prepared ourselves to have a fruitful day, full of nice debate and new presentations, which will be shown by our colleagues. So this session will provide an opportunity to share experience and views on how PRTRs contribute to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals. The session will be comprised of 3 items. So, our current work, our hurdles and opportunities, and consumption and production. So, we now invite our first group of panelists to the podium, namely Ms. Wakana Matsunami, from Ministry of Environment, Japan, Mr. Mohamed El Bush, from National Laboratory of Pollution Studies and Monitoring from Morocco, and Mr. Abdus Salim Yuraev, from National Center for the Implementation of the Stockholm Convention under the Committee for Environmental Protection from Tajikistan, and Ms. Katerina Luchko, from Department of Industrial Pollution and Climate Policy, Ministry of Environment from Ukraine. Please come to, and yes, and take your plate, please, your state plate, if it's possible. And first we will listen pre-recorded video statement from Mr. Diego Escobar Ocampo from Urban Environment Affairs, Colombia, and we start when we all came to our podium.
Initially, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present Colombia's progress in implementing the PRTR. Initially, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present Colombia's progress in implementing the PRTR. We adopted our PRTR based on international experiences and best available practices. So we consider this global roundtable on PRTR to be very important for countries willing to implement their PRTR. It's important to note that the PRTR has been designated to cover around 130 substances. 59 correspond to substances enforced by existing environmental legislation, and 75 come from international environment agreements. And it's also important to highlight that in Colombian case, the PRTR includes all productive sectors such as manufacturing, power generation, mining and cement, oil and gas, and service sector. In 2024, the manufacturing sector will have to register with the PRTR and will start reporting its emissions and transfers in 2025. And the other sectors will have to register in 2025 and start reporting information in 2026. In this context, around 400 facilities have been registered from the manufacturing sector, and we expected to have more than 18,000 registered facilities from the remaining sectors in 2025. Right now, we are focused on optimizing the IT platform, conducting capacity building activities, including 33 workshops, in which more than 2,000 participants have been trained. And also, we are focused on publishing guides, user manuals, and other reference documents. With that, we hope that to have our first public report on PRTR information to be available in November 2025, specifically on the manufacturing sector, and in 2026 we will have the information for all the remaining sectors. With that, I want to thank you again for the opportunity to present our experiences. And if anyone wants to know more about our PRTR, you can check out the link included in the slide in the presentation, where you will find the resolution adopting the PRTR in Colombia. Also, you can find the document with the results of the PRTR pilot test. Also, it's included in the link the PRTR protocol, and its document is in English. And also you can find the PRTR conceptual model from Colombia. I want to note that this document, the conceptual model, describes the general concept behind the Colombian PRTR, including, of course, the scope, the list of substances, the reporting and validation process, and other useful information. With that, I finish this report, and thank you again for your time.
Vakana to share with us her presentation.
Thank you, Chair.
The PRTR.
I'm Wakana Matsunami.
We adopted our PRTR based on international experiences and based about.
Okay. I'm Wakana Matsunami, Ministry of the Environment of Japan. Today, I will introduce the newly developed information platform on the use of PRTR data in Japan from the perspective of disaster and accident response. So next slide. Our PRTR, Japan's PRTR system has been implemented since 2001, designed to encourage voluntary improvements in chemical management by business operators and to prevent obstacles to environmental protection. We now have 515 substances for the PRTR system and receive PRTR reports from around 32,000 facilities. The publication of both aggregated and individual PRTR data has improved communication between government, industry, and civil society could be enhanced. Next slide, please. So in 2019, the Central Environmental Council made recommendations for the review of the PRTR system for us. In addition to revising the list of PRTR substances, it was also recommended to strengthen the response to chemical incidents in case of disasters by improving the use of PRTR data by local governments and the disclosure of information by business operators, promoting information sharing between local governments and business operators, and using PRTR data by local governments in disaster response and business operators, such as identifying the situation of business operators that may be affected by the disaster. That is because Japan is frequently hit by typhoon in summer and autumn, and in recent years, typhoons have become very strong in terms of rain and wind, and chemical spills associated with disasters have also occurred sometimes. So next slide, please. Hi. Yes. So considering the recommendation to strengthen the response to chemical incidents in the event of a disaster, DChem Core, Chemical Risk Assessment and Management Resource Core for Disaster and Emergency, has been developed by the National Institute for Environmental Studies under Research, funded by the Environmental Research and Technology Development Fund, provided by our ministry, with the aim of providing relevant information immediately when chemical releases occur in the event of a disaster or accident. In terms of the direction of development of DChem core, the following issues are being considered. Usable by experts and non-experts for risk management in emergencies, useful in any case of disaster or accident, and stress-free or less stressful for first-time users. In terms of ideas, DChem core should have the following features: flexible access to information by moving back and forth between pages, diverse menu to respond to various user needs, and easy access to information for both and links between inside and outside the system, focusing on reaching useful information. The system is only available in Japanese, so please note the text in the captured screens in this presentation material are translated into English by the automatic translation of web browser. So next slide is from the main menu pages. You can click to display submenus, then click again to display detailed items. And next, so from the menu by situation, you can search for the location of facilities and what substances are handled at those facilities in areas that may be at risk of disasters as part of disaster or accident preparedness. In this case, click on Advance, then click again on I want to know the location, then selected Map Search under the PRTR information category. So next, on the map display page, like this, you can display PRTR reporting facilities on the various maps and search facilities by sector and substances. Next slide, please. This slide shows an example of the display of facility PRTR data. You can view the PRTR data and estimated storage amount by clicking on the facility icon on the map and clicking on the details button. So next slide, please. So if a spill occurs as a result of damage to facilities caused by land spills, and there is concern about the dispersion of such substances into the atmosphere, you can click if there is a residential area that may be affected by the accident by indicating the approximate location of the accident site, entering wind direction data, searching nearby for PRTR facilities, and drawing circles around the area that may be affected. So next slide. You can also check PRTR data near the location of an unusual odor report to find out what substances are leaking and where by pointing to the approximate location of the reported site and clicking on nearby facilities. So from the menu by purpose, you can search for possible substances of concern by selecting some conditions such as physiochemical properties to view detailed information about the such substances such as PRTR data. So assuming when there is a report of yellow gas in the air, you can search to see if the gas contains any substances that may have immediate adverse effect on human health. The system can also provide information about facilities handling PRTR substances near the reported location to help determine whether or not to alert the nearby community. And this slide shows an example of search result for substances with acute toxicity to humans and yellow color. Then, so you can view more detailed information such as toxicity values. Okay. If you are interested in the system, please visit the website and give us your feedback so the system is developed in Japanese language. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bakana. Thank you for presenting your work, connecting PRTR and responses to chemical incidents in case of disasters. Now I would like to invite Mr. Mohamed El-Bush for his presentation.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. J'ai le plaisir de partager avec vous l'expérience marocaine en termes de tout ce qui est dispositif d'évaluation, de surveillance et de contrôle des rejets, et notamment tout ce qui est fait en matière de registres. Prochaine slide. Alors, ma présentation, ça va donc porter sur un rappel sur les dispositions réglementaires qui régissent en fait les rejets, les principales actions menées en lien avec le PRTR, l'expérience donc des quelques projets pilotes sur le PRTR, le bilan de base national qui a été présenté par M. Hérol hier, donc on a fait l'exercice au niveau national, le plan d'action national de lutte contre la pollution, l'évaluation et le contrôle environnemental, les programmes et activités liés à la surveillance et une petite conclusion. Prochaine slide. Alors juste pour les principaux textes réglementaires au niveau national, il y a pas mal de textes qui régissent donc les domaines environnementaux, que ce soit dans le domaine de l'eau, l'air, le littoral, les déchets, les études d'impact, l'évaluation environnementale, j'en passe. Et même, on a adopté en 2015 une loi sur l'accès à l'information. Donc c'est une loi qui porte tout ce qui est information en général, y compris les informations sur l'environnement. Et d'ailleurs, on a même intégré l'accès à l'information et la publication de tout ce qui est données environnementales dans la loi sur le littoral. Et d'ailleurs, la norme sur la surveillance l'exige. Il y a même des sites institutionnels qui ont mis en place des accès pour les données en général. Il y a une plateforme donc pour les citoyens, pour ce qu'on appelle pour les plaintes, pour les requêtes. Et même au niveau institutionnel, on a désigné des chargés de tout ce qui est information, donc au niveau du ministère. Alors, pour les dispositions donc, on n'a pas une loi sur les PRTR, mais dans les différentes lois, donc au niveau national, on a mentionné, il y a des dispositions sur le registre, que ce soit dans la loi sur l'eau, que ce soit dans la loi sur l'air. Et d'ailleurs, pour la loi sur l'air, il y a un décret sur la surveillance et un arrêté sur l'indice qu'on appelle sur le seuil d'information et seuil d'alerte. Parce que c'est ça l'objectif en fait de PRTR, c'est informer la population en cas de pollution majeure. La loi sur la gestion des déchets, effectivement, on a mentionné tout ce qui est gestionnaire des décharges devrait disposer de registres. La loi sur le littoral également. La loi sur l'évaluation environnementale, on a donc les pétitionnaires devraient disposer d'un cahier de charges et un plan de suivi et de surveillance environnementale qui en fait répond, c'est l'équivalent du registre en fait. La loi relative à l'exploitation des carrières et j'en passe. Slide prochaine. Alors, pour la gestion des rejets au niveau du Maroc, alors tout ce qui est rejet liquide, on a les stations d'épuration quand il s'agit donc des traitements, et il y a des rejets directs. Pour les stations d'épuration, il y a ce qu'on appelle les registres, où ce sont des rapports réguliers qui sont élaborés, et il y a un suivi et le contrôle par la suite. Et pour tout ce qui est rejet direct, en cas d'absence de station d'épuration, il y a les opérations de contrôle. Et j'en parlerai tout à l'heure. Donc, il y a des plans de surveillance, que ce soit pour les eaux de surface ou l'eau de mer. Alors, pour tout ce qui est gazeux, quand c'est des rejets, donc c'est des rejets, des émissions directes, il y a ce qu'on appelle les reportings de certains secteurs, donc ça exigé pour tout ce qui est cimentier, et pour les autres, il y a le contrôle. Et on a mis en place un programme de surveillance de la qualité de l'air. Pour les déchets, tout ce qui est centre autorisé et les décharges, il y a donc le plan de contrôle, et par la suite, il y a la surveillance des déchets au niveau des plages. Prochain slide, s'il vous plaît. Alors, les principales actions menées en lien avec le PRTR, il y a les différents programmes de gestion des déchets et des eaux usées. Il y a un programme national de lutte contre la pollution, je parlerai tout à l'heure, des projets sur le BBN et des projets sur le PAN. En termes de contrôle, donc toutes les unités industrielles sont soumises au contrôle. On répond effectivement donc, aux différentes requêtes. Les projets assujettis aux études d'impact sont contrôlés. Et aussi, il y a tout ce qui est autorisation, que ce soit pour l'importation des déchets ou pour le transport des déchets, sont soumis à des stricts règlements. Et il y a aussi le plan national annuel de contrôle environnemental. Alors, concernant la réglementation, donc, il y a donc, le renforcement et la révision. Il y a pas mal de textes qui ont été révisés, notamment le décret sur la surveillance de la qualité de l'air. On est en train d'élaborer des textes pour les valeurs limites générales des rejets en mer et des valeurs limites spécifiques des rejets en mer. On a revu également certains valeurs limites pour l'air, et il y a le chemin en cours long pour la mise en place d'autres textes réglementaires, notamment sur les produits chimiques et j'en passe. En termes de surveillance, il y a pas mal de programmes de surveillance sur la qualité de l'eau, sur la qualité des plages, sur la pollution aussi tellurique, que ce soit au niveau de la Méditerranée ou de l'Atlantique, la surveillance de l'air et la salubrité du milieu marin. Prochain slide, s'il vous plaît. Alors, les projets pilotes menés au niveau national, donc sur le PRTR, ça a été réalisé en 2008 et en 2014. Malheureusement, quelques unités industrielles ont été adhérées à ce système, que ce soit pour les 2 années. Les autres entreprises n'avaient pas assez de données donc suffisantes pour estimer leurs rejets de façon fiable et n'étaient pas préparées à ce genre de requêtes parce qu'elles ne disposent pas de l'historique des données, de surveillance, toute la liste des paramètres, etc. Parce qu'en absence des valeurs limites générales et des valeurs limites spécifiques, comme j'ai dit, c'était pas obligatoire. Alors, les recommandations issues de ces 2 projets, c'est l'accompagnement technique pour la mise en œuvre de la réglementation nationale, comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, l'évaluation des infrastructures existantes, je parlerai tout à l'heure, développement des opportunités d'échange d'expériences et de transfert de savoir, l'adaptation du formulaire PRTR aux caractéristiques des petites et moyennes entreprises et l'incitation des industriels pour l'application du PRTR. Prochain slide, s'il vous plaît. Alors, le bilan de base national, comme ça a été donc, bien expliqué par M. Hérol hier, donc, on a suivi la même approche du PAM-PNUE, que ce soit pour les facteurs d'émission, que ce soit pour les permis dérogés, que ce soit pour les industriels, pour effectivement estimer et calculer donc, les charges de la pollution au niveau de la Méditerranée. Et là, ça a été appliqué sur le choix des périmètres, l'identification des sources de pollution, l'identification effectivement des paramètres, en tenant compte bien évidemment de la réglementation en vigueur, la collecte du maximum des données existantes, l'évaluation, la structuration, les diagnostics des données et le choix des méthodes d'estimation. Prochain slide, s'il vous plaît. Alors, pour le plan national de lutte contre la pollution, on a élaboré en 2003 et en 2015 donc les plans nationaux de lutte contre la pollution. Et on est actuellement de mettre à jour le plan d'action national de lutte contre la pollution pour la période 2025-2035, comme ça a été mentionné par M. Hérol. Donc on a déjà mis en place des comités de pilotage, de coordination et de groupes de travail au niveau des régions. Le travail, il est en cours, ce que je pourrais dire, mais donc les résultats seront donc présentés à la fin de 2025, Inch'Allah. Prochain slide. Alors, concernant l'évaluation et le contrôle environnemental, ça c'est très intéressant. En 2024, donc, le Maroc a réalisé à peu près 950 opérations de contrôle de diverses activités économiques, des différents projets d'investissement. Il a préparé des plans de contrôle au niveau régional et assuré leur mise en œuvre. Il a assuré le suivi des unités de production d'huile d'olive en coordination parce que c'est un grand problème au niveau national. Le renforcement de la coordination entre les autres corps en charge de contrôle, notamment le ministère public, le ministère de la Justice, le département de l'eau, la gendarmerie royale et j'en passe. Le renforcement des capacités dans le domaine de contrôle, l'octroi d'autorisation aux entreprises collectant ou transportant des déchets, l'examen des dossiers des projets assujettis aux études d'impact, l'élaboration des procédures de mécanismes pour activer la mise en œuvre de la loi sur l'évaluation environnementale et la préparation des lignes directrices de référence sectorielles pour les procédures d'évaluation environnementale. Slide prochain, s'il vous plaît. Alors, en termes de surveillance, le Maroc dispose, donc, comme vous le savez, 3500 km de côte. Et à présent, donc, on assure à peu près plus de 195 plages. Et aussi, donc, on assure la surveillance des déchets au niveau de ces plages. Et on élabore également les profils des plages qui en fait sont un état de l'environnement des plages. Donc, slide présent. Donc, en termes de communication et de l'accès à l'information, donc, il y a un site du laboratoire qui communique régulièrement les données sur la qualité des eaux baignades. Il y a l'affichage des résultats de surveillance sur les lieux des plages. Chaque année, il y a un rapport et une conférence qui sont organisées pour présenter les résultats sur les plages. Et il y a un rapport analytique plus détaillé sur les plages. Et aussi, on a mis en place une application sur les plages qui informe régulièrement les citoyens et les estivants sur la qualité des eaux de baignade, où il y a toutes les informations utiles pour les estivants. Slide prochain, s'il vous plaît. Alors, concernant les programmes de surveillance de pollution, il y en a plusieurs. Il y a pas mal de projets et des programmes menés avec le PAMPNUE, donc le programme MEDPOL, le programme IMAP. On a lancé en 2018 le programme sur l'Atlantique. Il y a pas mal de projets sur d'autres activités, notamment pour l'inventaire des POP, l'inventaire des transformateurs HTSC qui sont contaminés par les PCB. Les programmes de surveillance de MEDPOL et de l'IMAP, ça concerne les différents paramètres physico-chimiques, contaminants, eutrophisation et j'en passe. Donc les différents polluants sont couverts par les domaines de surveillance au niveau du Maroc. Slide présent. Prochain, s'il vous plaît. Alors, en termes de surveillance de la qualité de l'air, donc à partir de 2020, on a redynamisé le programme de surveillance de l'air. Et comme vous voyez, donc en 2020, on disposait même pas d'une trentaine de stations. À présent, on est à peu près à 70 stations et une vingtaine sont en cours d'installation. Donc 2025, on serait à 90 stations et ce sont des stations qui sont réparties sur tous les territoires, sont dans les agglomérations au niveau national. Et en fait, c'est une réponse, si vous voulez, au PRTR pour connaître l'état de l'environnement. C'est la surveillance qui, en fait, permettrait donc aux citoyens de connaître l'état de l'environnement qui l'entoure, surtout en termes de l'air. Donc c'est un programme qui vise d'atteindre 140 stations d'ici 2030, mais on est dedans, donc c'est un programme ambitieux où il y a plusieurs partenaires qui contribuent à son aboutissement. Slide prochain, s'il vous plaît. Alors, en termes de conclusion et de recommandations à cette présentation, je dirais que les dispositions liées au PRTR sont appliquées, mais d'une manière diffuse dans les différents textes réglementaires au niveau national. Les programmes de gestion des eaux usées, des déchets et de surveillance et tous les projets, actions menées au niveau du Maroc contribuent à l'évaluation de l'état environnemental de la pollution. Des défis restent à relever pour les rejets industriels et une assistance technique est nécessaire sur le plan réglementaire, technique et aussi de sensibilisation des acteurs. Des mécanismes d'incitation seront d'une grande utilité pour encourager les industriels de mise en place de PRTR. Activer ou réviser l'arsenal juridique par l'adoption des valeurs limites générales et valeurs limites spécifiques des rejets en mer et dans l'air qui sont en cours. Le renforcement du contrôle environnemental en ressources suffisantes. Slide prochain, s'il vous plaît. En termes de perspective, donc, à mon avis, donc, il faut se pencher sur le renforcement de l'arsenal juridique environnemental, notamment, comme j'ai dit, pour les valeurs limites. Là, c'est un travail acharnant qui demande l'implication et la contribution de tous les acteurs concernés. La généralisation du BBN au niveau national pour l'évaluation de la pollution. L'élaboration et mettre en œuvre le plan national de lutte contre la pollution industrielle, c'est un programme qui est en cours de finalisation et qui va répondre, si vous voulez, à notre souci sur le PRTR. La mettre en œuvre de certaines actions, surtout pour le volet industriel du plan national de l'air, parce qu'on dispose d'un plan national de l'air, et où il y a 4 volets. Parmi les volets, il y a les volets émissions industrielles. Et je crois le plan national de lutte contre la pollution avec les 2 programmes, on pourrait répondre aux objectifs de PRTR. Le renforcement des capacités des acteurs sur l'utilité de PRTR, générer des fonds pour l'incitation des industriels pour la mise en place de PRTR. Et d'ailleurs, pour l'incitation des industriels, le Maroc a mis en place les années 2010-2016, donc 2 fonds, un fonds pour ce qu'on appelle le fonds de dépollution industrielle et un fonds, c'est un mécanisme pour tout ce qui est pollution des eaux. Et mener également des études en cas d'application de PRTR au niveau de certaines zones industrielles. Et d'ailleurs, on est en train donc d'élaborer un projet dans ce sens avec le Japon, donc, et j'espère que ça va aboutir. Voilà. Donc, j'espère que j'étais pas lent et merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for presenting status of PRTR projects in Morocco and all the programs you work on regarding air and water quality. Thanks. Now I would like to invite on floor Mr. Abdusalim Yuraev.
Я являюсь представителем Комитета охраны окружающей среды при правительстве Республики Таджикистан, и зовут меня Абдусалим Жураев. Уважаемый председатель, уважаемые коллеги, от имени Комитета по охране окружающей среды при правительстве Республики Таджикистан и от собственного имени разрешите поблагодарить секретариат Конвенции ЕК ООН за приглашение и возможность продемонстрировать волю Республики Таджикистан по достижению открытости и прозрачности вопросов охраны окружающей среды. Отмечаю, что вопрос ратификации протокола РПВЗ крайне важен для Республики Таджикистан. Учитывая тот факт, что страна подписала протокол, для нас остается крайне важный шаг ратификации, где наша страна уже добилась определенных успехов. Но еще раз хочу отметить, что этот документ играет ключевую роль в становлении экологического учета и отчетности в стране, совершенствовании механизмов сбора и распространения информации, равно как внедрении цифровых методов сбора и обработки данных. Хочу короткое свое вступление, короткую свою презентацию начинать с того, что Республика Таджикистан подписала протокол РВПЗ в 2003 году на конференции министров охраны окружающей среды для Европы в Киеве. Получена поддержка ЮНЕСЕ в вопросах анализа действующего законодательства. Законодательная база в области охраны окружающей среды – это Конституция Республики Таджикистан, Закон Республики Таджикистан об охране природы, об экологической экспертизе, об охране атмосферного воздуха, об отходах производства и потреблении, о радиационной безопасности, о биологической безопасности, о гидрометеорологической деятельности и кодекс здравоохранения. Дальше, пожалуйста. Следующий слайд. Какие продвижения у нас по протоколу РВПЗ делаются? В общем-то, создана рабочая группа, переведен текст протокола на государственный язык, были проведены ознакомительные встречи в целях, задачах конвенции и протокола во всех районах страны и готовятся ратификационные документы для представления парламенту. Хочу отметить о том, что вот я представил несколько таких фотографий, но для того, чтобы вот в районах республики проведено вот такие семинары. Ратификация РПВЗ как фактор устойчивости и развития. Ратификация РВПЗ также способствует достижению целей устойчивого развития, таких как: первое. Цель третья. Обеспечение здорового образа жизни и содействие благополучия для всех в любом возрасте. Снижение выбросов загрязняющих веществ напрямую влияет на качество воздуха и воды и улучшает здоровье населения. Второе – это цель шестой. Обеспечение доступности и устойчивого управления водными ресурсами и санитарией для всех. Контроль за загрязнением водных ресурсов помогает сохранить и чистоту, и доступность. Третье – это цель 11. Обеспечение открытости и безопасности, жизнедеятельности и экологической устойчивости городов и населенных пунктов. Уменьшение загрязнений воздуха и воды делает города более пригодными для жизни. И четвертое – это цель 13. Принятие срочных мер по борьбе с изменением климата и его последствий. Снижение выбросов парниковых газов способствует борьбе с глобальным потеплением. Необходимые действия. Первое. Анализ действующих национальных систем отчетов о выбросах переносе загрязнителей, представляемых промышленными предприятиями республики. Второе – это разработка перечня химических веществ в соответствии с приложением 1 к протоколу о РВПЗ в рамках Аархусской конвенции, которые должны быть включены в отчеты и представляемые предприятиями. Третье – это разработка перечня предприятий, которым необходимо представлять отчеты о выбросах загрязнителей в воду, почву и воздух в соответствии с приложением 1 к протоколу РВПЗ. Четвертое – анализ и предложения по адаптации национальной правовой базы, направленные на подготовку проект документов для присоединения к протоколу о регистрах выбросов и переноса загрязнителей. Пятое – это разработка и структуры из создания баз данных для национальных РВПЗ и ее оптимизация. И шестое – разработка руководства пользователей по управлению базой данных и его перевод на другие языки. Какие существуют препятствия? На сегодняшний день несовершенство законодательных и нормативных правовых актов, недостаточное сотрудничество с другими учреждениями по сбору данных об окружающей среде и неэффективные информационные взаимодействия и сотрудничество с промышленными объектами. Ограничение финансовых ресурсов к рынку, измерительного оборудования и аккредитованных лабораторий. Высокая стоимость оборудования и нелегальный вывоз пестицидов и других химических веществ в Республике Таджикистан. Нехватка высококвалифицированных специалистов и другие. В связи с этим я хотел бы особенно подчеркнуть важность помощи и поддержки со стороны секретариата. Нам необходима методическая и техническая помощь в разработке и внедрении новых регулятивных механизмов. Также важно наладить обмен опытом и лучшими практиками и другими странами, уже успешно ратифицировавшими протокол. После ратификации протокола перед нами станет задача его эффективного использования. Здесь также потребуется активное участие секретариата, который сможет предоставить нам необходимые ресурсы и экспертизу для мониторинга и оценки выполнения обязательств. В заключение хочу выразить уверенность, что совместными усилиями можем успешно ратифицировать протокол РВПЗ и обеспечить его эффективное исполнение. Это станет важным шагом на пути к устойчивому развитию и процветанию нашей страны. Спасибо за внимание.
Work in the field of PRTRs and other relevant environmental legislation. Now we have here our Miss Katrina Luchko, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair, Secretariat. I'm very pleased to be in this room today and to represent Ukraine. I would like to thank all the delegation for almost 3 years of support of our country and for allowing us to report and remind you of the terrible consequences that military actions cause. Ukraine, a European state, is today the epicenter of ecological terrorism and, as we are used to saying, ecocide. Active hostilities caused by Russia's actions not only destroy cities and take people's lives, but also have a catastrophic impact on the ecological state of the environment and the quality of atmospheric air in Ukraine and beyond. However, despite these circumstances, we are confidently working the European course and skillfully fulfilling our obligations, including under the Aarhus Conventions and the protocol. Next slide, please. Today, I would like to share Ukraine's experience in establishing the national PRTR and its unique features. Ukraine ratified the protocol on 2nd May in 2016. Unfortunately, for a long time, we couldn't fulfill our obligations. Nevertheless, after the development of the necessary legislation, we had submitted a request for advisory assistance to the Protocol's Compliance Committee on reviewing its legislation vis-à-vis requirements of the protocol. And also we benefited from expert assistance from UNECE with regard to its institutional framework, practical measures and methodology. Finally, in 2023, the national PRTR began operating as one of the services on the ecosystem platform. Next slide, please. Today, despite the ongoing war, team of the Ministry of Environmental Protection and Natural Resources continues to pursue ambitious plans to further digitize environmental protection. After all, digitalization is above all about transparency, accessibility, and efficiency. For this purpose, we have created the digital platform ecosystem, which provides administrative services in the environmental field and access to the registers maintained by the ministry and the central authorities we coordinate. Ecosystem was created to ensure a high level of public awareness about the environmental situation, facilitate the implementation of e-governance mechanism, guarantee transparency in the activities of executive authorities, streamline the aggregation and systematization of environmental information held by government authorities at various levels, support stakeholders' alignment, and enhance public participation in environment policy of decision-making. In doing so, Ukraine fulfills its obligations under the Aarhus Convention. Next slide, please. As a result, through of our national PRTR, users have access to services, including the register, through an electronic account. System login is enabled by an authorization service that supports file-based and hardware keys, as well as authorization via id.gov.ua. through their electronic accounts, operators can conveniently access services, submit reports, and to receive responses to their requests. The online application process is highly automated. Data from various state registers is verified and automatically populated. Step-by-step guidance, control systems, and links to regulatory documents help users complete everything accurately. We made the PRTR registration process fully automated. After the operator signs an application and provides details about the facility with a digital signature, it's automatically assigned a registration number and entered into the register. Next slide, please. By the March 31 of the year following the reporting year, the operator submits a report on pollutant releases and transfer, filling out relevant tables on emissions and waste. After submission, the online application goes to an official's electronic cabinet, where it's processed and reviewed with a response indicating acceptance, rejection, or a request for additional information. The operator can immediately see the response in their electronic cabinet. On the next slide, you can see that we have also developed a convenient search system based on many parameters. The next slide also about it. We also expanded the register's functionality by adding waste codes. When filling out the report tables, operators select relevant waste codes from a drop-down list, providing more comprehensive information about the facility. Next slide. Based on data from the first reporting year, 2023, a comprehensive report was generated using Ecosystems electronic tools and published on the Ministry's website for all stakeholders to review. The data indicated that 144 operators registered 416 facilities and submitted 261 reports. Next slide. I would like to remind you also due to the martial law imposed in Ukraine following the Russian military aggression, the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine adopted the law of Ukraine on the protection of the interests of entities submitting reports and other documents during martial law or a state of war. According to this law, legal entities must submit documents required by current legislation within 3 months after martial law or a state of war is determined or lifted, covering the entire period during which reporting or document submission was not possible. In other words, business entities are currently not obligated to submit reports, although we recommend doing so now to avoid the challenges of gathering all information later. One of the issues we encountered in implementing the register involved security measures, as critical infrastructure facilities are among the first affected by military actions. We introduced personal identification for register access since it contains important information that the enemy can use for own purposes. However, a public portion is extracted from the register and made available without identification. Our plans for near future are to solve the issue with the diffuse sources of emission, to regulate the collection of information at the legislative level, as well as to integrate with the European Register. We have already contacted the European Environmental Agency regarding further steps and will do everything in our power. Also, we are currently discussing the possibilities of integration with PRTR of OECD. In conclusion, I want to say that public organizations, journalists, and environmental concerned citizens can monitor the environment situations through the public section of the platform. The full-scale war has impacted access to environmental information. Currently, we cannot publish data sets that contain critically sensitive information that could aid the enemy in the war against Ukraine. However, after victory, access to all environmental information will be fully restored as open data. We believe that Ukraine in these extremely challenging times is making and will continue to make every effort to provide comprehensive and non-discriminatory tools for realizing the rights established by the Convention. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katerina, for presenting work in the field of PRTR. I could say that we are definitely impressed of all the work you managed to do, even in those difficult times for people of Ukraine. Really, really thank you. Now we have a few statements from the floor. First is Mr. Laska Sofal from the Ministry of Environment in Cambodia. Please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, co-chairs, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to express our sincere thanks to the Secretariat for the invitations and the works done for the fourth Global Roundtable on PRTR in Geneva. I believe that we are all here agreed that many manufactured chemicals have helped improve human health, food security, productivity, and quality of life, from pharmaceuticals and plant protection products to the production of vehicles, electronic equipment, and textiles. However, many chemicals and waste have hazardous property and continue to cause significant adverse impacts on human health and environment because they are not properly managed. There are hazardous properties and other pollutants released in large quantity every day in the environment from industrial, agricultural, and pharmaceutical facilities that can affect our daily lives. Chemical pollution is estimated to cause nearly 2 million deaths every year, which is highlighting the urgent need for sound management of chemicals and well-established network of environmental data for providing public access to specific environmental pollution information and helping decision-makers to make informed choice that will contribute significantly to reducing and preventing the number of deaths and illness causing from hazardous chemical pollution. PRTR can be a powerful tool for monitoring environmental performance in industry through providing information on the release of chemical from potential polluting facility. Recognizing the usefulness of PRTR in addressing environmental issues, with the support from UNITAR, Cambodia have implemented PRTR project that helped in developing a national strategy for public access to environmental information and dissemination of PRTR data, establishing a digital PRTR platform and carry out pilot activity in 42 facilities of 5 main sectors. With the results of this project, PRTR is incorporated in our Environmental and Natural Resource Code, and under the regulations, the current regulation, all potential polluting facilities are now required to install a real-time monitoring system, which link to the central monitoring system of the Ministry of Environment. And also, we are considering to join Kyiv Protocol on PRTR. Of course, with this progress made, we also have challenges facing us, including a complaint from the industry of the increasing burden of reporting responsibility, limited institutional capacity, and lack of public awareness and industry participation. To address challenge, there is need for support to harmonize reporting mechanism, build capacity for government officers and industry personnel, enhance public awareness about the use of PRTR and industrial participation in PRTR application. Thank you.
Presenting your work in sound management of chemicals in industry you do in Cambodia. We also support, of course, your plans to join our big PRTR family. Please, welcome. And now we go to Mr. Mario João de Oliveira from Ministry of Environment in Guinea-Bissau. The floor is yours, please.
Merci, Président. Et je salue tous les collègues présents ici dans cette salle. Je commence pour dire que la Guinée-Bissau n'est pas encore un pays fort dans l'activité industrielle. La principale activité économique reste l'agriculture de subsistance et l'importation des produits. Cependant, ces dernières années, des petites unités sont apparues qui transforment les produits agricoles, et conditionnement et embouteillage de l'eau, unités de fabrication du savon et aussi du ciment. En effet, on peut trouver plusieurs obstacles. Le manque de données exactes sur les différents types de pollution. Il n'y a pas d'études spécifiques sur ces sujets, type de polluants, les répartitions, ni des ressources matérielles et humaines à cet effet. L'absence de cadre juridique pour la définition et la classification des déchets et des substances dangereuses, manque de techniciens spécialisés dans la classification et le tri des déchets et des substances dangereuses, absence de centre de gestion de l'information sur les produits phytopharmaceutiques entrant dans le pays. Ces problèmes feront l'objet d'un plan d'action pour la mise en œuvre du RRTP dans le pays. Entre-temps, dans le cadre de la mise en œuvre du projet RE10, dans le contexte de la santé unique financé par la Banque mondiale, 10 jeunes du ministère de l'Environnement ont été formés par l'Inspection générale de l'environnement pour sensibiliser la population au risque des émissions de polluants provenant de diverses activités et aussi pour effectuer la surveillance de la santé environnementale. Dans ce contexte, il y a eu quelques pollutions plus ou moins importantes, comme de l'eau, due à l'absence d'assainissement, la pollution de l'air causée par la transformation agricole, les émissions de véhicules, l'incinération des déchets et la pollution plastique, puisque jusqu'à présent, on n'a pas un centre de recyclage des déchets dans le pays. Ceci pour dire que le pays a besoin d'un soutien technique et technologique pour mettre en œuvre un système de RRTP, car il était d'une importance vitale de disposer d'un registre sur la qualité de l'air que nous respirons, de l'eau que nous utilisons à différents fins et de la qualité de notre sol et sous-sol. Et aussi de disséminer cette information au grand public et des autres intéressés pour un développement durable. Je vous remercie.
Thank you for presenting work you do in the field of environmental protection in Guinea-Bissau. Now I would like to invite Ms. Megdi Tot-Nagy. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and distinguished delegates, I would like to speak on behalf of the project enhancement of PRTRs in the Western Balkan countries and in the Republic of Moldova, which is funded by the Federal German Ministry of Environment, Nature Conservation, Nuclear Security and Consumer Protection within the Assistance Program for Environmental Protection in the countries of Central and Eastern Europe, the Caucasus, and Central Asia, and other countries bordering the European Union. This project was mentioned yesterday, so we'll add a little bit more details about the results and lessons. The project has been supervised by the Federal Environment Agency and was implemented between May 2021 and July 2024 in Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, as defined by in UNSCR 1244, Montenegro and Republic of Moldova by Participatio Ltd, Hungarian firm in partnership with Resource Environmental Center REC Albania, REC Bosnia and Herzegovina, REC Montenegro, and EcoContact from Moldova, 4 NGO partners. During the past 3 years, the project made progress in the implementation of the UNECE PRTR protocol and on the relevant current EU legislation, and established PRTRs in 3 countries where PRTRs have not existed before, namely Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kosovo, and Montenegro. After the assessment of legal, institutional, technical, and capacity building conditions, proposals were made on the necessary legislative changes in all 3 countries. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, rule books, decrees on PRTR were prepared and adopted in the 2 entities, in Republika Srpska and the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the draft rule book has been prepared in Brčko district, which still needs to be adopted. These and other project activities support the ratification of the PRTR protocol in Bosnia and Herzegovina. As mentioned yesterday, PRTR software was developed for joint use by the 3 countries, and it has been installed. And this includes an online reporting tool, a web platform, which still needs to be finished in some of the mentioned countries, user guides, and in-person and online support was also provided to the PRTR authorities and some bigger operators to enable them using this application. Guidelines on calculation of emissions from the energy sector, mining, and livestock were prepared to facilitate reporting. In Moldova, after assessment of the current PRTR, proposals were made for the improvement of this existing PRTR, and some improvement could be made. However, further, more extensive improvements are needed, which require more financial resources. In Albania, the still functioning but not secure PRTR will be replaced within a planned new information system. Therefore, activities were mostly focused on capacity building. We will hear from the country partners, hopefully, in the next, today and tomorrow. The representatives of competent authorities, operators, and civil society were enabled for the operation and use of the PRTR through trainings and workshops in all 5 countries, and during 21 national events and 1 sub-regional workshop. Altogether, approximately 850 participants were targeted. Now I would come to the key lessons to share with you some of the key lessons. The first and major one is that the sharing of experience and expertise among the project countries in a sub-regional setting has proved to be successful. It provided opportunities for the project countries to learn from experts of neighboring and European Union countries, as well as from experts of the UNECE, European Environmental Agency, and OECD. And this has greatly supported the implementation of PRTR obligations and could contribute to a faster progress to build operational PRTRs. We would like to thank today's experts and also experts of individual countries, which I wouldn't enumerate now due to lack of time, as well as to the experts of NGOs who have helped us in this process. The sharing of the resources among the 3 project countries, allowing to establish a joint software for use, resulted in a cost-efficient solution. The project countries have now the conditions to prepare and make publicly available their yearly report, as well as can possibly report voluntarily to the European Environmental Agency. The software, which is based on modular approach, could and should be expanded in the future with elements to implement the upcoming new European Union requirements, and the countries, project countries, could progress further together and have jointly upgrade and have a joint upgrade of the PRTR system. We are happy to inform you the news from yesterday that the German Ministry of Environment decided to continue the support, and after phase 1, about which I have been talking, phase 2 of the project for 1 more year, it will be now possible until end of November 2025. Thank you for the attention, and if any questions for further details, please contact us and also the project country representatives and NGOs who are in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi, for informing us regarding projects of enhancement of PRTRs in Eastern Balkan region and Moldova. Now we came to part of our the part where we ask questions to our panelists. I have first question, if I could, and this is for Ms. Vakana Matsunami. Sorry, when listening your presentation, I just wonder if you have a typhoon, for example, and then you have floodwaters and you have chemical incident. How much time do you need that this information from these chemical incidents came from this part of country to the web page? Do we talk about days, weeks, months, hours? How much time do you need that the people know that there was chemical incident and what happened? I'm sorry, did I ask correctly?
It's different of the. Thank you, thank you, Chair, for your question. That is different as the incident for them. For example, I introduced. I speak about the 2 examples to use the homepage. How use the homepage. One for atmosphere. One is so may one or not in 24 hours maybe, but sometimes we can't nothing over the times, so it is different as incidents. It's difficult to correct answer. Yes.
Now, if you have, we have some question from our floor. Please raise your flag. I see there is CAC. Please, the floor is yours.
For the presentations, the topic of awareness and capacity building has been mentioned in some of the presentations. With respect to Morocco, if I understood correctly, there is issue of compliance because of the lack of data or knowledge. And my question is whether that's from a specific sector in particular or in general terms. And what kind of industry are we talking about, whether it's small and medium size or larger industries? Because it will help to target those information exchanges and capacity building measures if they are for specific sectors or industry.
Pour votre question. Alors pour les PRTR qu'on a menés au niveau national, c'était en 2008 et 2014. Donc et ça a été exécuté au niveau de la Méditerranée. Au niveau de la Méditerranée, il n'y a pas de grandes entreprises. Il n'y a pas de grandes entreprises. La seule entreprise qui causait un grand problème, c'est une entreprise dans le procédé où il y a le mercure. Mais il y a 2 ans de cela, donc cette entreprise a été délocalisée parce que c'est le point noir, si vous voulez, c'est le point noir au niveau de la Méditerranée. Les autres entreprises sont des petites entreprises parce qu'au niveau national, les grandes industries sont localisées au niveau de l'Atlantique et pas au niveau de la Méditerranée. Au niveau de la Méditerranée, il y a tout ce qui est transport, mais là, le transport pour Tanger, ils sont très équipés, donc là, on n'a pas de problème. Mais les autres sont des petites et moyennes entreprises. Donc, ce n'est pas des grandes sociétés ou de grandes industriels au niveau de la Méditerranée. Peut-être s'il y a une assistance à fournir, c'est au niveau des petites et moyennes entreprises au niveau de la Méditerranée. Ce n'est pas des grandes entreprises. En termes de sensibilisation, oui, donc pas mal des entreprises qui ont bénéficié des fonds de dépollution, mais c'est un fonds qui était un don de l'Allemand, donc de la GIZ. Et d'ailleurs, maintenant, il a cessé. Maintenant, on cherche, au niveau national, on cherche d'autres bailleurs de fonds. Et pour cela qu'on est en train de finaliser ce qu'on appelle le plan national de lutte contre la pollution. Et ça va englober, donc, on va faire un inventaire des industries et va être catégorisé par classe, les plus polluantes, les moins polluantes, etc. Et pour les autres, ça c'est pour les anciennes. Mais pour les nouvelles installations, à partir de 2003, donc c'est-à-dire à partir de la loi sur les études d'impact, toutes les entreprises, toutes les sociétés sont assujetties à faire le suivi et le suivi permanent de leur rejet. Pour certains industriels, donc ça, il y a encore certains qui ne sont pas collectés au réseau, etc. Ça, il y a encore un effort à fournir. Mais comme j'ai dit tout à l'heure, c'est que pour les industriels, en absence des valeurs limites de rejet, surtout en mer, donc on n'a pas, si vous voulez, la main donc de les contrôler. Mais une fois, mais d'ailleurs maintenant il y a tout un projet et peut-être dans un an donc ça va sortir. Donc les deux arrêtés correspondants, peut-être à ce moment-là, on peut réfléchir et on demandera donc CEE donc ENU donc de nous appuyer. Pourquoi pas pour mettre en place le PRTR au niveau national. Donc si vous voulez, comme j'ai dit, le PRTR, il est là, mais d'une façon diffuse. Donc, il y a des registres, il y a des contrôles, et d'ailleurs, il y a même des reporting environnemental, donc au niveau par région et au niveau national. Donc, on contrôle en quelque sorte la situation, mais le chemin reste à parcourir pour y arriver et mettre en place un vrai semblable donc PRTR. Voilà, merci.
Thank you. Now we have European Commission, please.
Very much, Chair. I have a question to the delegate from Morocco. Very interesting presentation. Thank you very much for that. I'm not sure if I understood well the message about environmental inspections. You said on one of the slides that you ran 900 something environmental inspections, and then you discussed the quality of environment and at the seaside, which I understand because given the national the GDP of Morocco, much of that is coming from tourism. How much of this 900 were industrial installations? Because I didn't get the link, maybe in percentage. So how do you run the environmental inspections? Thank you. And later I will have questions to the Ukraine delegate, please. Or maybe I'll ask it now. Thank you very much for this presentation. It was very useful because, well, we are in a constant dialogue with a candidate country, with Turkey and in the European Commission. So this brings in a really lot of new knowledge for me. I would like to talk to you during the break about the details of the PRTR because we are preparing for the next round of negotiations. So it would be useful very much for me to talk to you about it. Thank you.
L'Union européenne de ces questions. Alors, pour tout ce qui est contrôle, parce qu'au Maroc, on dispose d'un plan national de contrôle de la pollution. Et ce plan, ça concerne les unités industrielles, les différentes installations, donc les stations d'épuration, les décharges, les projets assujettis aux études d'impact, les WIRI, parce qu'on a un problème, donc les WIRI au niveau national, donc il y a tout un problème des margines au niveau national. Et c'est un plan exécuté au niveau national, mais parce que, si vous voulez, le Maroc, ou le département de développement durable, a mis en place ce qu'on appelle des directions régionales de l'environnement. Et chaque direction, au niveau régional, il dispose d'un service dédié au contrôle et évaluation environnementale. Et chaque fois qu'il y a un problème, donc à part le plan d'exécution, il y a une liste des industries, chaque année, il y a une liste des industriels ou des steps qui sont contrôlés. À part ça, s'il y a un problème, s'il y a une requête, que ce soit des ONG, des citoyens, là, on intervient. Et nous, en tant que laboratoire national de l'environnement, on est aussi assermenté pour faire le contrôle. On fait la surveillance et aussi on fait le contrôle. En cas de pollution marine, ça a été pollution marine ou autres, accidents ou autres, on intervient. Et aussi, donc, si vous voulez, il y a les inspecteurs dans l'environnement, donc tout ce qui est modalité de respect des exigences réglementaires. Il y a la partie analytique, si vous voulez. Donc, on prend des échantillons, on fait les analyses, etc. Et ça se fait que ce soit pour les rejets liquides ou bien même pour les rejets gazeux, donc pour les unités industrielles. Concernant les industriels, comme je disais tout à l'heure, donc il y avait un plan, mais ça n'a pas abouti. Donc c'était élaboré en 2015-2016. Mais là, avec le retour d'expérience, donc on est en train de finaliser ce qu'on appelle un plan national de lutte contre la pollution. Et effectivement, donc pour maîtriser, si vous voulez, les rejets. Parce qu'avant, on n'avait pas des valeurs limites, parce que maintenant, en 2018, on a fait sortir le décret sur les rejets dans le milieu, donc les rejets liquides, les rejets des eaux, les rejets dans le milieu continental. Mais il n'y a pas encore des valeurs ou des normes pour les rejets en mer. Mais on dispose des normes de rejets ou émissions atmosphériques et tout ce qui est monitoring. Vous avez parlé du littoral. Le littoral, effectivement, on a tout un programme de surveillance qu'on mène il y a une vingtaine d'années quand même. Et pour identifier les sources de pollution, ce qu'on appelle, chaque année, on élabore ce qu'on appelle les profils des plages. Et les profils des plages, si vous connaissez, se basent premièrement, la première étape, c'est l'identification des sources de pollution. Et s'il y a des industriels au niveau avoisinant le littoral, etc., on les identifie. Il y a aussi le programme que j'ai parlé tout à l'heure, le programme de surveillance de la pollution. Et ce programme de surveillance de la pollution, ça concerne effectivement les zones, parce que le premier critère de choix des stations de surveillance, c'est avoisinant, si vous voulez, s'il y a des rejets potentiels ou pas. Parce que là où il y a des rejets, c'est là où on fait la surveillance. Parce qu'à travers le monitoring, si vous voulez, de la surveillance, on pourrait connaître au moins l'état de l'eau ou l'état de l'eau marine. Et en amont, donc, on chercherait, donc, si vous voulez, en aval, si vous voulez, les sources de pollution. Donc, je ne sais pas si j'ai bien répondu à votre question ou pas, mais je suis disposé à en parler davantage parce que j'avais que 7 minutes, je ne peux pas dire tout. Voilà, merci.
You have some more questions, so European Commission. I think you said you have a question for our colleague.
Chat during the break.
So it looks like we have no more. Oh, flags we have. UNEP, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just a small comment and a question to Morocco. We know that, for instance, Morocco volunteered one of our calls to try to calculate in a pilot the aquaculture emissions from the in the Moroccan coast, which we had the report, a detailed report with of course with the information available was scarce, but they did make some estimation on some of the aquaculture installations. On the other hand, what we see, my question is to Morocco. What we see, they are more technically more ready to make one step further to implement a full a PRTR. Is there any study to estimate the cost of such a move in Morocco to go for a implementation of full PRTR or not? Because we know that under UNEP map, under the NBB, national based on budget calculations, which is done every 5 years, they are doing the calculation and they are submitting the data. So I just wanted to ask if there is any estimated cost for such full implementation of PRTR. Thank you.
Merci, Erol. Donc, je répondrai une partie, mais je compléterai la question de tout ce qui est pollution industrielle pour l'Union européenne. Alors, effectivement, pour le BBN, et comme je l'ai dit dans l'exposé, on a élaboré, c'est le 3e BBN donc, qu'on a élaboré au niveau national, mais on a élaboré un sur l'aquaculture. Et la méthodologie, comme vous le savez, donc, ça dépend donc, des données disponibles, que ce soit de surveillance ou que ce soit de contrôle, ou que ce soit donc, selon la base des estimations. Si vous voulez, donc, en parallèle, on est en train, et on a élaboré 2 auparavant, ce qu'on appelle le plan national de lutte contre la pollution au niveau de la Méditerranée. Donc, le dernier, c'était en 2015. Et chaque plan national dispose de ce qu'on appelle les fiches actions. Donc, on a identifié pour le PAN 2015 3 grandes actions où il y a le chiffrage du coût, si vous voulez, pour remédier donc, à ce problème, gros problème environnemental. Donc, ça c'est le premier. Pour le prochain, pour ce qui est en cours, on va élaborer au moins 10 fiches actions. Et les fiches actions, ça va, si vous voulez, c'est le détail des actions à mener dans les 10 prochaines années pour remédier aux grands problèmes environnementaux, surtout en termes de pollution, que ce soit surtout industriel. Ça, c'est... Et ça répond une partie à la partie, donc, à la question de l'Union européenne. Concernant le coût, effectivement, c'est une très bonne idée, Erol, et je crois qu'on va demander au PAMPNUE de nous appuyer, ou bien à l'UNECE, donc, pour effectivement faire une étude de faisabilité pour la mise en œuvre du PRTR au niveau national, parce que c'est très intéressant. Mais je crois, à mon sens, une fois, on pourrait attendre quelques mois, une fois on aura le plan national qu'on va élaborer, et on aura également les deux livrables, si vous voulez, de BBN et de plan national de lutte contre la pollution. À ce moment-là, on aura tous les outils, si vous voulez, ou les livrables et les produits nécessaires pour mettre en œuvre, si vous voulez, ou bien pour étudier ou examiner la faisabilité de mettre en œuvre le PRTR au niveau national. Voilà, je vous remercie.
Do we have any more questions from the floor for our panelists? If not, we could have coffee break. Chris is still 11:40? 45. So it looks like we have coffee break till 11:45. So it means 25 minutes. Please enjoy. It looks like we are back again. In case you didn't notice, it's snowing outside, so it raises possibilities that we have white New Year, but only just rise possibilities, so we see what happened. So now we have our next group of panelists. I would like to invite Mr. Luis Mandalho from Ministry of Environment from Brazil. Please take your poster, your flag with you. Mr. Sam Adukumi from Ministry of Environment from Ghana. Ms. San Kyong Park from National Institute of Chemical Safety, Republic of Korea. Then Ms. Betul Keskin Çatal from Ministry of Environment in Turkey. Please come to us. And we will start with our first presentation with Mr. Luis Mandalho.
Hello, good morning. I'm Luis Mandalho from the Ministry of Environment of Brazil. I'm very happy to be here participating in this global working table. So I'll talk a little about the recent activities that we have towards the establishment of the PRTR in Brazil. About the legal framework, we still don't have a specific law about implementing the PRTR, but we have some laws that give the basis for the implementation of the PRTR. We have the National Environmental Policy, a federal law from 1981 that created the National Environmental System, who establishes the agencies that work with the environment, the Ministry of Environment, the National Institute of the Environment, and also the Council for the Environment. We have the federal law 10,650 from 2003 that established that the public access to the environmental data and information existing in the agencies. So this law gives the basis that every data of environment needs to be public. It needs to have access for all the society. And also, we have ratified the environmental conventions, the BRS and Minamata. So, for example, the Stockholm Convention and the Minamata Convention give support for the establishment of PRTR. And with the PRTR, we can also help to implement and give information for these conventions. What we have now of reporting is the annual report on potentially polluting activities for users of environmental resources. It was instituted in 2000. So this report is under the National Institute for the Environment. So those responsible for activities listed in this law, they must submit annually to the Brazilian Institute a report of the activities carried out in the previous year. So this report is made of thematic forms that group data information from every individual or legal entity. So this doesn't get all the information that a PRTR must have, but it gets some information that can be used for the PRTR. So between 2009 and 2013, it was asked for some PRTR information under this report, but this was stopped in 2014 due to some technical issues and not having the legal basis specifically for the PRTR in Brazil. So some challenges that we already know that we'll have for the PRTR implementation is the state capacity institutional arrangements. So we need a regulation specifically for the PRTR that give the governance of its functionalities. We are conducting a regulatory impact analysis, which is an evaluation that contains information and data on their likely effects to verify the reasonableness, difficult word, of the impact and support decision making. This is the National Decree of 2020. Also, we need to have the industrial sector aboard with us, so we can have them working together and not like opposition. So as I said, the national regulation also work to define the PRTR list of substances and all the activities that must fulfill the system. And the technology part, which is the development of the information system. I think this is similar for every country that is trying to implement the PRTR, so we doesn't have a different situation. So right now we are conducting a project, a technical cooperation between the Ministry of Environment and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, IICA. This project encompasses all the activities of my secretariat, that is environmental quality and urban environment. So in this project, we have a specific part about PRTR. That is this study for the implementation of PRTR in Brazil. So this study aims to prepare a proposal for the implementation of PRTR, targeting to strengthen the mechanisms for planning, monitoring, and management of environmental quality to promote transparency, corporate responsibility, and the development of sustainable public policies. So the inputs of these studies will help in the regulatory impact analysis that is going to be conducted by the Ministry of Environment. So right now we are in the bidding process. This week we were finishing the evaluation of the proposals, so we can contract the consultancy to work in these products that are here, the outputs. So we have 7 outputs in these projects. So the first one is survey of national and international experiences related to PRTRs. We already have identified some good examples like United States, Canada, our closest neighbors, Chile, Colombia, that can help us as examples for a national PRTR in Brazil. Also the communication strategy. So the regulatory impact analysis must have public participation. So this project will also help in engaging stakeholders and consulting and have them working together. So the output 6 also is elaboration of a list of priority pollutants, including the comparison with the substances that are already controlled in federal legislations, like the Minamata Convention that controls mercury trades, or the Stockholm Convention about POPs. Also this output 7 is very important, that will give the basis for the elaboration of the PRTR electronic system. So this is give the basis for the future implementation of the technology aspect of the PRTR. So this is the broad view of what we are doing now. Thank you very much for having me here. I would like to thank you, the UNECE, UNITAR and OECD, and all the staff involved in organize this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. It looks like Brazil have all essential environmental laws in place. You also work in the field of persistent organic pollutants and mercury. And PRTR will be surely just organic next step in that direction. We are just happy for this. Now we have Mr. Sam Adokumi. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, sir, and good morning to you all. My name is Sam Adokumi from Ghana. I'm a national expert for the Ghana EPA and the Ghana Ministry of Environment. And happy to be here to share some few thoughts. Next slide, please. Yes, so as a way of introduction, I would like to say that in Ghana, we are really deeply involved in issues about the MEAs, as a multilateral environmental conventions, and we have ratified a number of them, endorsed or adopted a number of frameworks as well. And these are mainly including the Minamata Convention on Mercury, the BRS conventions, the Basel, the Stockholm conventions, and also we actively involved in the global framework on chemicals. And at the moment, Ghana is also a party to the Water Convention since 2022. And we are also deeply involved in the ongoing Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee to put in place a legally binding instrument for plastic pollution. And from what we heard yesterday from UNITAR, from BRS conventions, these conventions really thrive on data as well. And PRTR is so important because there are tools which help in the reporting system under these conventions. Next slide, please. Currently, Ghana, we don't have any PRTR system in place, but we are aspiring to get one as of highest priority to us. At the moment, our institutional capacity for data generation and collection are inadequate, and there is no common platform actually for data information sharing among the national stakeholders. The data on chemicals and waste is collected, stored in a disaggregated way, and distributed over a range of ministries and institutions and accessible to stakeholders on demand. Any absence of an integrated chemicals management system, information system, hampers the accessibility to accurate data available and also to relevant stakeholders. Next slide, please. So there are a number of activities underway in Ghana which we believe will help us to catalyze, the process of getting a PRTR system in place. For example, under the Special Program Trust Fund of UNEP, in 2021, we were able to put in place a 10-year, what we call strategy plan for standard chemicals management and waste from 2021 to 2030, which is also coincide with the SDG, the critical years. So we're trying to ensure that we will also be able to deliver our obligations under the SDGs. And under the plan, we have objective to strengthen the national capacity to manage chemicals, including waste, throughout their life cycle in a sound manner in order to meet the relevant country commitment and minimize the risk to human health and environment. A number of specific objectives are in place, and one of them is on data generation, relevant data generation and information to make data available and accessible to all our stakeholders to enable informed decision and actions. Next slide, please. For that specific objective, we have a number of targets that we want to meet. And I want to mention two of them, which are critical concerning a PRTR system. We are saying that by 2022, which is 2 years ago, we'll have a GHS in all the relevant sectors of our economy, officially adopted and fully implemented by 2025, coming next year. We are running late, but at least we are having a project under the UNEP EU-funded pilot project with technical assistance from UNITAR to develop the GHS system in Ghana. And also, we are hoping that by 2030, we'll have an integrated information and data management system on chemicals and waste, developed and also make it available and accessible to all the stakeholders to enable informed decision-making in a clean and circular economy. So this is where the PRTR system also is critical, because we believe that it will help us having that to get our chemicals management information system in place and also share with others and then report on the conventions and obligations. Next slide, please. So currently, we are developing a national, trying to develop a national target for SDG 6.3.1, which we believe that is also going to help for us start that national PRTR system. So one of the objectives, Objective 5, is to establish an inventory of water pollution sources. And through this, we will be expanding it to cover other pollution sources, air, soil, and other sources as well. And we believe that this will form the basis for the PRTRs, as I already mentioned. So we are working together in partnership with the Water Convention, we believe, and also UNITAR and other stakeholders to really get this done. It's under development. Next slide. I believe that is something that we can share for the moment. Thank you so much for the kind attention. And if any questions, I'm ready to address them. Thank you.
It looks like you are working on many international agreements, for example, Mercury, POPs, Waste, and Water Convention. Working on those international agreements definitely helps capacity building of administration in national state. For example, this is your good work with identifying water pollution sources, and we definitely wish you all the best. Now we have here Ms. San Yong Park from National Institute of Chemical Safety, Korea. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Sun Kyung Park. I'm working on National Institute of Chemical Safety, Ministry of Environment. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share Korean PRTR with everyone. Today, I'd like to share with you the various efforts to improve PRTR in Korea. It's been 25 years since Korean PRTR started in 1999 with the accession to the OECD in 1996. Chemical Release Reduction Plan, shortly Reduction Plan, started in 2020 with amendment to the Chemical Substances Control Act. Currently, we are in stage 1. Stage 2 will begin next year. Next slide, please. Since this May, Korea has been holding a forum made of industry representatives, civil society, and other stakeholders. In addition to evaluating and reflecting on the existing system, the purpose of this forum is to improve release management system, which includes both PRTR and the reduction plan. This forum focuses on 3 main topics. First, the new role and mission of the releases management system. Second, effective operational plans for the system. And third, the review of expanding substances subject to investigation. Next slide, please. Okay, let's take a closer look at each topic one by one. The OECD's goal is not only to disclose emission information, but also to use these data, develop better technologies, and to make better environment. Korea aims to reduce releases and in doing so, protect the human health and the environment. Korea is trying to transfer from investigating surveys and reporting to utilizing the release information and reduction. Additionally, Korea is considering ways to effectively reduce the release by linking reduction plan, green chemistry, and economically feasible bed. Next slide, please. The second topic is effective operational plans. Korea supports the industries in preparing PRTR and reduction plan report. For example, training, on-site technical assistance and education, and so on. Left photo of this slide is one of the public notice recruiting companies to participate. The officers visit site to provide on-site technical supporting and education. In addition, these officers listen to the expectations and difficulties companies face in PRTR reporting. Next slide, please. Another effective operational plan is about the reduction plan. Companies have to submit a reduction plan in order to minimize environmental pollution releases. Through reduction plan system, we encourage companies to voluntarily reduce pollutant releases. Korea is also considering offering various incentives to motivate companies to reduce the releases, such as extending the deadline for submitting the reduction plan. Next slide, please. Chemical release reduction plans have been submitted for 9 substances from 2020 to 2024. The number of substances will increase to 53 from 2025. And all target substances will be subject to investigation from 2030. Also, Korea is looking for ways to improve the quality of reduction plans. Next slide, please. Okay, let's move on to the third topic. The Chemical Substances Control Act will be amended in 2025 to include the management of substances with chronic hazards. As part of this, Korea is investigating physical properties and environmental fate of such substances. If necessary, we will increase the number of substances under investigation. Additionally, Korea is considering what can be done within the PRTR and the reduction plan to protect residents from the chronically hazardous substances. Next slide, please. So far, we've shared the effort to improve the releases management system in Korea. They are on the way. These are on the way. These are not the result. I look forward to hearing about your experience and practices. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, San. Thank you for sharing with us long road of progress in the field of PRTR. Now I would like to invite Ms. Betül Keskin-Çatal from Turkey. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and esteemed delegates. My name is Betül Keskin-Çatal, and I'm working as an environmental expert in Ministry of Environment, Urbanization and Climate Change. I am responsible for establishment of a national PRTR in Turkey and implementation and coordination of the system with my colleagues. Today I will make a short presentation on PRTR experience of Turkey. Since the last global roundtable was 6 years ago, I would like to start with history of Turkish PRTR. Next slide, please. establishment of PRTR in Turkey was initiated with 2 consecutive UNEP pilot projects within the context of LBS protocol to protect Mediterranean Sea against pollution. By these 2 projects, we learned about PRTR itself and how to build a national PRTR and what are the gaps and needs and fears on the subject. Turkey is not a party to the protocol and convention. On the other hand, Turkey has a national program for the adoption of EU acquis, and it gives a plan to harmonize European PRTR regulation. So we decided to continue with European PRTR and use the instruments for pre-accession assistance funds. By this third and, let's say, final project, we prepared all of the necessary tools, like a draft legislation, a web-based reporting software, a national website, regulatory impact assessment, and an implementation strategy, a draft guideline, and others. Next slide, please. And PRTR bylaw was published in Turkey in 2021 with a reference to the EPRTR. So the list of activities and the list of pollutants are the same with European PRTR in terms of scope, classification, capacity, and pollutant thresholds. However, there are some differences. We had additional registration process because PRTR facility list is quite different from the list of national environmental permit and licensing bylaw, especially for some sectors. Besides, in Turkey, if a facility is covered by the industrial list of the bylaw, all relevant pollutants should be reported without considering pollutant thresholds. But the ones above the thresholds will be publicly available as in European PRTR. In our system, we also add the information on wastewater treatment plants and their river basin that is subject to the pollutants transfer of each facilities. For an effective and sustainable implementation of PRTR, we decided to use a gradual enforcement for industrial sectors. So we have an item on this in bylaw. There is a provision in bylaw stating that the facilities have to provide their best data available. Bylaw also refers to the guideline, PRTR guideline, that includes the method hierarchy in it. In Turkish PRTR, data on production volume and consumptions and the source of the water used are mandatory for reporting, but they will be kept as confidential. Next slide, please. As you see from the table on the left side, every 2 sectors has different year of for the date of entry into force. Once enforcement date comes, they have 6 months to apply for registration. And within the first 3 months of the following year, they have to submit their reports. We complete the registration application of energy, metal, mineral mining, and chemical sectors. We accept the applications from waste and wastewater management and paper and wood production industries. As you see from the table, energy and metal sector have 2 reports submitted, whereas mineral mining and chemical sectors submitted their first report in this year. You see again from the table that at least 1 report from each sector will be achieved by 2026. Sorry, the words, back please. Sorry, the words are in Turkish on the map, but you can see the locations and distributions of facilities from the first 4 sectors. And the order of the sectors in the map and in the table are the same, so you can understand which color is for which sector. Now please check the numbers. The total number of registered facilities is more than 1,300 now, and the table shows that more than 700 facilities were applied, although they are not subject to the PRTR. So this is a challenging part of our system, since we review the processes and the capacity documents of each of those facilities one by one. Even we had to convince some facilities that they are not covered by PRTR. if we had above 3 numbers, it shows that we have proceeded almost 2,500 applications up to now. We had more than 3,200 emails, and most of them about the information or rules already written in the guideline or announcements. We add these numbers in slide because we have to be sure that PRTR's working intensity is really high. Remember, we don't have all the facilities yet, and we have just started to check data quality of facilities reports, so it is better to never underestimate the workload. Next slide, please. We published lots of auxiliary documents and carried out trainings with different contents and participants. We prepared some basic standard operational procedures, and we attend webinars. This year we have started a serial projects. The first phase is a small-scale project, and we are working with Scientific and Technological Council of Turkey. We have pilot facilities among thermal power plants and having activities of surface treatment of metals and open-cast mining. We work on their PRTR reports and understand the difficulties they have while gathering data and reporting. We investigate the pollutants that they were not reported, the reasons behind this misreporting, and we search methods for gathering data from the process details with them. Hopefully, we will get the first outputs of phase 1 project at the end of this year. Addition to this serial of projects, we are waiting the budget approval of a new project about improving PRTR software and integrating it with continuous monitoring center software to have better and easier data verification. We will prepare a notification for facilities on technical requirements of reporting. And to be honest, all of our focus is now on data quality in Turkey. We would like to guarantee the effective use of PRTR data for other monitoring and reporting requirements like Minamata, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Conventions, or LBS protocol, or life cycle assessment studies, or any other system that may be fed by PRTR. Since we started to get data from the facilities, we made contacts with related departments of our ministry on these collaboration subjects. Next slide, please. We try to improve our PRTR system continuously. We still need to enhance administrative and technical capacity, first on data quality assurance, and second, the use and the analysis of data. Therefore, we give a high importance to these meetings that countries and organizations share their experience and broaden our views. So that concludes my talk. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Betul. You successfully prepared full-fledged PRTR system and actively help operators to report. You even have mandatory reporting compression levels and raw material usage, and with that are in line with European PRT regulation, or how we say EIPR. Congratulations. Now we have recorded video statement from Ms. Shanshan Ding from Institute of Public and Environmental Affairs, China.
Honorable Chair, distinguished fellow attendees, it is our honor to participate virtually in a global roundtable on PRTR today and share the status and challenge in PRTR practice in China. My name is Helen Shanshanding, and I work for the Institute of Public and Environmental Affairs, IPE. We are a Beijing-based Chinese environmental NGO with the vision and mission to promote environmental information disclosure and bring back clear water and blue skies in China and protect our Mother Earth. Now, before sharing IPE's work, I'd like to share the updates on the status of PRTR in China. Since our global roundtable last time, China has made a significant move on PRTR, as the Ministry of Ecology and Environment issued the measure for the administration of legal disclosure of enterprise environmental information, which came into effect in February 2022. The measures require a total of 85,000 facilities in China, including key polluting entities and companies that are on the list for mandatory cleaner production audit, to publicly disclose pollutant generation, treatment, and discharge information via online platforms established by each provincial government. These include emissions of toxic and hazardous substances. 2024 is the second year in which these annual reports are being disclosed, and we expect these facilities to disclose more and more PRTR data publicly. Now, in addition to the work initiated by China's Ministry of Ecology and Environment, IP as an NGO inaugurated our work back in 2013 when we developed a PRTR online platform, having started PRTR in EU and TRI in the US. As you can see from the graph on the right, IP's PRTR have very comprehensive indicators, including carbon emission, water resource consumption and reuse of reclaimed water, conventional, and of course, toxic and hazardous substance discharged and transferred in wastewater, in exhaust air, and via hazardous waste. Other features of IP's PRTR include automatic calculation and calibration with data from previous years, so factories and facilities can increase efficiency and accuracy when they disclose PRTR data. Moreover, we want PRTR to be more than disclosure, so we have developed automatic data analysis report, as you can see on the left. Factories and facilities who disclose data year on year can see clear trends on their resource use as well as pollutant discharge in the analysis report. In China, the Ministry of Ecology and Environment set total quantity control limits on certain pollutant for key polluting entities. So we also add an alert function in PRTR, reminding factories and facilities that they have almost reached the total quantity control limits. Lastly, to encourage facilities and factories to reduce their pollutant emission, we've also added water, air, solid waste target setting and tracking functions in PRTR as well. Over the years, we have worked continuously with 35 multinationals who have supply chains in China and increasingly in Southeast Asia as well, to require their supplier to publicly disclose PRTR data via our platform. This was made possible because IPE, as an NGO, have since 2014 conducted our annual Green Supply Chain CITI evaluation. Now, one of the indicators quantitatively assess the extent to which companies encourage their supplier to measure and disclose PRTR data. So, as you can see on the left, companies such as Marks & Spencer, a retailer from the UK, have explicitly wrote in their environment and chemical policy that they expect all wet processing suppliers in China to upload their last calendar year PRTR data onto IP's platform no later than each March. Motivated by companies such as Marks & Spencer, as of October this year, a total of 14,000 PRTR data have been publicly disclosed on our platform. Another example I'd like to share is that one of the leading IT/ICT companies who wish to remain anonymous have required its supplier in China to disclose PRTR data by IPE in order to meet EPEAT server criteria for eco-labeling of electronic products. The EPEAT standard proposed that companies may choose to publicly disclose data related to toxic and hazardous substances emitted by their global supply chains. Now, having shared the latest updates and progress we've made since the last Global Roundtable, I'd also like to draw attention to some of the challenges we face. This includes how to motivate factories and facilities who have no legal obligation to disclose PRTR data. Maybe the attention of stakeholders help. So how to draw the attention of public, sourcing companies, and investors to PRTR, and how to go beyond disclosure and help facilities to make use of PRTR data to understand the baseline emissions, benchmarking with industry average, setting reduction targets and tracking progress over the years. To do so, we need to ensure data quality. So how to increase the accuracy of PRTR data so they can be used by facilities, industries, researchers, etc. for data analysis. As many factories and facilities are SMEs, how to build capacity and empower them to start from monitoring and reporting toxic and hazardous substances and reduce their emissions and usage. To tackle these challenges and moving forward, IP plan to develop more automatic data analysis based on PRTR data. So facilities are motivated to measure and disclose data continuously, improve data accuracy, and track emission reduction over the years. IP now runs online training on PRTR every year, and we plan to offer more sessions and FAQs so facilities are empowered to monitor toxic and hazardous substances, calculate data accurately and efficiently. Lastly, IP has been working to visualize data so different stakeholders, including the public, sourcing companies, investors, and researchers can make use of PRTR data and drive pollutant reduction in facilities. This is the end of my sharing. Thanks for listening. We apologize for not being able to attend in person in this roundtable, but please feel free to reach out to us by email shown on the slide if you have any suggestions or feedbacks. We would very much like to work together to improve the work of PRTR in China and globally. Thank you very much again, and I wish you all a good day in the roundtable. Thank you.
I would also like that China would be here. They have very interesting things written down in presentation. Now it's time for our discussion. So I will open the floor with question, and then I would like to use my position to ask the first question. For Ms. Sang-Kyung Park, I hope I don't stress you, but if you maybe know this, I saw in your presentation that you mentioned also usage of BAT techniques. I just wonder, when you talk about BATs, did you find what BAT is and what BAT is not by yourself in Korea? Or do you use some other BAT systems like European BAT system, or BREF we call this, or maybe US EPA documents, or some other sources which explain what BAT is for different activities, if you know?
Thank you for your question. Actually, BAT is not our Chemical Substances Control Act. We cannot control that. BAT is other. BAT is in other act, but is similar to US EPA BAT. Thank you.
I am looking for Flex. Do we have some questions for our panelist? I see UNEP is there. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the presentation. I have the same question for the dear representative of Republic of Korea and Brazil. We know that it's the UNEA resolution on sustainable nutrient management is coming. So I would like to ask whether would you also consider as a sector or sector in your current work and future work to include the sectors like animal husbandry or aquaculture, the aquaculture sector in your region? Because our MEA like ours, the regional sea conventions, are really using this data to also make the plan similar plans. So this is my question for the board representative. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your question. Right now, we are just starting with the PRTR implementation, so we still don't have the list of activities or environmental data we will require or sectors. But of course, every input that we can have from the entities will help us to have a good list of activities and substances to be included in our PRTR. So we can talk more later about it. Thank you.
Do we have some question more? Looking around the tables?
Please, take the floor.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Like as previously mentioned, in Korea there are a lot of some similar act. So the agriculture and some fishing related act. We are not we are not controlled for that, but we will keep an eye on your work, and then I'm really interested in your work. Thank you.
I just make mistake. We didn't give you a word immediately. I'm sorry. Do we have some other questions? No? So we finished. It looks like it's time for next pause. So we have time for lunch. We will have lunch till 15. We have time for lunch till 15 or 3 afternoon. With that, I will just close this item and wish you a pleasant resting time.